Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. Today, I want to talk about doing the Refold 30-day course. I'm just going to talk about, a little bit of my experience, what I enjoyed from it, what, things like that. And I think that I do think it's a good course. I'm going to show you a little bit first off the course here. But basically, just to kind of explain how this even came about, I started learning Greek 49 days ago today. Tomorrow's day 50. And basically, I sat out and I said, you know what? I've got my Spanish, and my Spanish is to a level where, I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. Like, I'm comfortable with what I can do in Spanish, and so I want to do something else, and I want to get into a language that I've not really ever studied, and I want to just go through it from a stance of language acquisition, not learning. I want to acquire the language. And so I went in and I said, I'm not going to study grammar or anything, at least for a while, until I have a base vocabulary, and kind of just go from there and see what I could do and go from there. So after I got into it a day or two, I stumbled across Ben's video from Refold. Of course, I follow Refold. I've known Matt for a long time, which I don't think he has anything to do with Refold anymore, but I followed him over to Refold, Matt vs. Japan, and so I followed their stuff, but I just stumbled across Ben's video in Czech, and when I listened to him, he was saying everything that I'm doing for Greek, and I was like, man, okay, I would love to maybe do something. So I set up a call, and I met with Ben, and I was talking to him about my Greek, and he said, hey, why don't you check out this Refold course and see what you think of it, and, we can kind of go from there. So, if you want to check that out, I have links in the description. They are affiliate links because I did enjoy the program, but I'm going to get into that. You can check those out, and of course, anything that you purchase would get help support the channel, kind of thing. So you can go check that out. But I'm also going to say exactly what I think about this course, so because that's just the way that I work. So I got this course and I started. It's designed to do one thing a day. You have before you begin, what you have to do, like each level unlocks. You can't just skip around. You have to do it in order, which is the way the course is done. I don't know why people fight that anyway. Just do it the way that it's supposed to be done. You do one lesson a day, and it builds from there. Now, I'm not going to show you a ton behind the scenes. I wanted to have this up just so you could kind of see it. I will maybe click into a lesson, but again, this is a paid course, and I'm not trying to give stuff away for free. So you go in here, you click on week 1 foundations. It's got some stuff. So I'm just going to click on day 1 because it's day 1. You have a video that's going to be led. You've got some stuff. Ben is doing the production. We've got some stills and things like that. And each day focuses around a certain point. So this day specifically was the phonetic writing system, which I think is pretty important. I think a lot of people skip that over. This was something that actually I really, really liked. I thought it was very, very beneficial to what I was doing. So I went through this, and they give you homework. They give you homework each day. Today's homework, 10 minutes, and it builds slowly and it progressively gets longer. So I think, especially if you're a beginner and you're just kind of getting into things, I think this is really beneficial. So yeah, writing system, 10 minutes a day, learn the phonetic writing system. Just try to get that much in and just kind of see where it goes. And so each day builds on that. There's also a corresponding document sheet, resource sheet, which is over here. I was learning Greek, of course, but they have a ton of languages. Let me get to the welcome. They have a ton of languages here, like a lot more than I thought, and even some a little bit more, I hate to say obscure languages, but languages that might not have as many resources. We've got Japanese, Spanish, English, English for Spanish speakers, Russian, French. I need to stop hovering over that. I'm really bad for hovering. Mandarin, Chinese, Korean, Thai, German, Dutch, Vietnamese, which I'm actually really intrigued in. I'll probably look at that here in a little bit. Persian, Cantonese, Tagalog, Danish, Polish, Italian, Hebrew, Portuguese, Swedish, Hindi, Levantine Arabic, Modern Greek, and Czech. And each day, it's cool because this is a sheet that actually has stuff set up. I don't want to give away too much because, again, this is part of their course here, but so it's based on the day. Each day it gives you the things that you need to click on for that day's homework or whatever. So you've got your day 1, day 2, day 3, all the way down at the bottom for day 30, and it has specific things that kind of correspond to the homework, which I think is really, really neat. that sheet, the resource sheet in itself, which I talked to Clayton from Refold, and I've actually added a couple, or I sent him things. I don't know if he's added it yet, but I've sent a couple of things for the Refold, for the sheet for Greek, just because I've found a couple of new things. Obviously, since I'm spending a lot of time in Greek, and it's very, very responsive. I had a question at one point, and they answered it perfectly in the Discord that you get, because there is a specific Discord for the Refold courses, which I think is great. But each day, you build on this. So tomorrow, the next day, Refold philosophy, you'll get into. I'm going to do one more, because again, I'm not going to. But so this day, you'll build on top of that 20 minutes, and each day doesn't go up by 10 minutes. But learn your writing system. And then this day, spend some time in the language, watching videos. They've got videos in the sheets and stuff like that, just to get you introduced and into it, and this idea of language acquisition versus language learning. So the course builds on itself. And again, it's 30 days to where at the end, you're doing that. This thing sets you up with some really good tools. And it actually made me try some things that I generally dislike, which I think is really, really good. It set me up with sentence mining, which I did for a little bit. Actually, if you look at my sheet here, you can see vocabulary study when I introduced it, which was day 6. And then I studied it every day for a while. And then it kind of got a little spotty here because I just don't like sentence mining. I just don't find that I retain as much information when I mine sentences versus when I read. And so actually I've been using the intensive 3-channel immersion, which again, you learn about in the course. Of course, if you are any fan of Refold, you probably know what it is anyway, but just reading, basically video, listening, and subtitles. That way you're doing like 3 inputs at the same time. So I just started doing that, and I actually started using Language Reactor, but I use Language Reactor like Link, for example. Like I read it, and if it's a word I don't know, I'll mark it as studying, and if it's a word I know, I'll mark it green. Studying is like a orange font, and I kind of just use it like that, and that has been super helpful. When I've studied languages in the past, I was really, really bad about not looking words up. I would kind of just hope that I would just gather the meaning, but I've been really proactive about looking words up. And it's funny because there's so many things that I'll see in a video that day, and then when I read at night, I'll see it, and I'm like, oh, there's that word. Or even vice versa, I'll do a new like mini story on Link, and then I'll see that word within my immersion, which is really, really crazy. So, I mean, I guess it's not really crazy, but like to me, being able to just know that my vocabulary is increasing, and to me, that is like just absolute like the best thing. So, I think the course is really, really good. I don't really have a lot of flaws with it. There's not really anything. Everything is so thorough, but it's not overwhelmingly thorough. It's like thorough to the point of each day. That's why, again, you do it each day. I mean, this would be overwhelming if you did it all at the same time. But I think each day it's really, really good. It's, again, building on each thing. Tools for priming. Okay, so we're 6 days in. Now we're getting some tools for being able to do this. Like that way you're not just like, okay, oh, this is your day 1 of learning Greek. All right, man. Hey, what we're going to do is we're going to set you up some sentence mining. Let's set you up Language Reactor. Here's this, here's that. Here's how to do that. Like it's very smooth and in the process. And then they'll give you homework, and it's like, hey, just spend 10 minutes with this. Try to get a feel for it and go on. So obviously I did more than what the course said because I'd already studied Greek for, I think, like 7 or 8 days up to this point. Like not like I'm a big seasoned vet of it or anything, but I also have obviously language learning background, so I did that as well. And then I would just go over here, find some stuff, add it, and just carry on, man. And that's what it is. I got each day a little bit better. And so I meant to click on this. Yeah, so I did in the 30 days, I did 33 hours and 58 minutes. So my goal is an hour a day. I don't do crazy goals anymore where I'm like, I'd love to study for 4 hours a day or anything like that. I literally would rather be consistent and feeling good about it than I would being like, oh, I studied for 5 hours, but now I don't feel like doing it for the rest of the week. So I say an hour a day. Anything over that is a bonus, which in turn gives me kind of this dopamine kick of, man, I exceeded expectations. Because it's funny, because if I set a goal for 2 hours and I do an hour and a half, I feel like I failed. But if I set a goal for an hour and I do an hour and a half, I succeeded. So the way that you tell your brain what you're going to do can really, really set you up for success, in my opinion. So just to go over some of the stuff here, the reading is the main thing. Reading is what I do every day. I read every day. Now, you can see some of these are 25, 16, 15, and then there's some days where it was like 5 minutes because I did other things a little bit more. And then like here, just a day, an hour of reading. I just was really in the zone that day. But also I think that this spreadsheet is a really good depiction of kind of what do I feel like doing that day? What do I really feel like is going to bring out the best in me in Greek that day? And I love that there's so many options that I have. I love that I can just immerse, watch a little bit of comprehensible stuff, really try to pick up what they're saying. I love that I can do the intensive immersion where I have the subtitles so I can really follow along and go from there, which is really good. The vocabulary study was pretty solid. It's just I just don't like flashcards. And honestly, I would kind of group this in with reading because that also is vocabulary study. As you can tell here, I started versus like just watching. I really kind of stopped doing the regular immersion in favor of the intensive 3-channel immersion, or 3-channel immersion, which I call intensive immersion. Just because I felt like I got a little bit more out of it with the reading, especially as little on as I am. I know on Link I'm like 450 words known or something like that. I probably know I do know more than that. It's kind of hard to gauge sometimes because there's stuff I've seen in my 3-channel immersion that I've not seen reading and vice versa. So, I mean, it's probably roughly 500-ish words that I know, but I get more out of that, obviously, because I can read and see what's going on. I did do just a touch of speaking. If you look right here, speaking, we've got 30 minutes and 45 minutes. I used Xiaoma's Teacher AI just to give it a test with Greek, and it worked very, very well, but I don't think I'm ready for speaking yet, for obvious reasons. So that is what it is. The total time that I spent this month, again, 33 hours, 58 minutes. I did 11 hours and 23 minutes of reading. I did 5 hours of listening. Now, I did more listening than this. This is just listening specific. When I was walking around the house, cleaning up stuff, or maybe driving somewhere, I would listen. And this is active. This is not passive listening. Like, this is to where I could pay attention. And so, obviously, I did more because the 11 hours and 23 minutes of reading, I also have listened as well. So, I mean, really, my reading is 16 plus hours, if not more. Not to mention you're obviously listening when you're immersing, not to mention you're listening when you're doing your 3-channel immersion. So, but yeah, so 5 hours of listening specific, 4.5 hours of just regular watching TV as a Greek would, 59 minutes, almost an hour of alphabet work, which really, really helped me. Because some of the stuff they talked about was the sound combinations. Like there's specific combinations in Greek, like if, what is the epsilon and the iota are together, it makes like an E sound, or if the M, which I can't remember what it's called, and the pi is together, it makes a B sound. Like there's some stuff like that. And of course I've also gotten used to that just by reading. So, and then vocabulary, 4 hours and 53 minutes, but that's gone way down because I don't do Anki. Maybe once I get better, I can do that. But I don't really like Anki in terms of making a sentence card and then, I don't know. I just don't, it's just an isolated sentence. Even if you're learning one word in that sentence, it's still an isolated sentence. I like the context of everything. So it is what it is. But it's worked out really well. So I think the course is set up really well to lead you through things and get you into it. I think that this course is really, really good for especially beginners, but then like, even intermediate users, I would say, can get use out of this. I don't know if I would say that if you're like an advanced language learner and you have kind of a system, like if you want to test out the Refold system, I think that it's good. But I think if you were to set up a system and say, like if you were already an advanced learner who would learn a couple things, I mean, if you have a system that works, just you could probably just do that. But I mean, even me is like, I would consider myself an advanced language learner, even though I'm not great at a lot of things. I have a system, and I got a lot out of this. If nothing else, kind of making myself, I hate to say push the boundaries, but just really get in tune with what I was doing, and really setting up, getting into a consistent pattern. Like I knew every day I was going to get to watch this video with Ben talking, and that was really helpful to me because sometimes I didn't want to just like wake up and just jump, boom, right into just Greek in my face. And watching this video with Ben kind of primed my brain for like, okay, we're getting ready to go into Greek. Let's kind of like transform what we're doing here and listening to him talk and then, going throughout the day stuff. So I think the course, I personally think it's worth it. especially if you're a beginner or intermediate stage, like really just getting down these resources and stuff like that, I think are really, really helpful with the examples and stuff that they give on how to use stuff. And the course also has like different things. Let me see if I can click on something here. Like there's additional, yeah. So like right here, they have videos that are linked that are private on their YouTube that are just for people doing this course. So you actually get even more information than what the course gives you, because if it gives you a tool or something, like for example, it's not just like use language learning with Netflix. So you have the whole thing about these different tools you can use, and then it links you to a video on their YouTube channel where it gives you more in-depth instructions on how to properly use that tool. So I think that it's good. The sheet itself, the resource sheet, man, is like the best thing. This thing right here is absolutely invaluable to me anyway. I've not looked at like Japanese or any of the bigger languages, but the amount of resources that they have for Greek makes me think that a language that has a lot more resources to offer is probably absolutely loaded. I'm not one to tell anybody how to run their business, but I think if you sold this sheet, I would probably pay, personally, I would probably pay $10 or $20 for the sheet because of the resource. It's a one-stop shop for resources. Yes, you can find your own, but man, it's so good to be able to go to a sheet and say, boom, here's this, here's this, here's this. Oh, what does this channel do? This is a vlog. This one's about shopping. This one does food content. This one does reaction content, whatever it is. And like I said, if they have that for Greek, I know that your bigger languages, Japanese, Chinese, German, any of that stuff. I mean, God, probably most of the languages on this list, barring maybe Czech. Czech probably has as limited, if not a little bit less than Greek. But yeah, I know that it's going to be a lot. So they should totally sell this sheet, but that's just my opinion on that matter. But that's pretty much it. I hope that kind of just gives you a little bit of a look and a little bit of an insight as to what this course offers. I would recommend it just based on what it did for helping me. It helped me get consistent in language learning again. I've not been, like I said, tomorrow's day 50 for me for learning Greek, and I've learned it an hour a day at least every single day. And part of really getting into that was the 30 days that I spent with this, knowing I was going to watch that video with Ben, and then get into what I was doing, learn a new element of just kind of learning and priming my brain and stuff. I think it's a really, really good resource. And if you're a beginner, I would highly, highly recommend it, especially if you're looking to get past that, like, Duolingo stage of, oh, okay, the cat eats the apple, that's great. But like getting into content enjoyment. I'm not here to crap on how anybody learns languages. I used to crap on Duolingo and stuff like that all the time, but honestly, whatever you stick with is whatever you stick with. But if you're looking to get a little bit further into things, I think that this is definitely something that you could get a lot of benefit out of. I wish I could show you more, but honestly, I mean, it's a paid course. I've kind of always done that on my channel. I don't like to show paid things like, I mean, it's a business model. You can't give away stuff for free. So, and I do think it's worth it. Setting up the lectures and things like that, I think is really, really beneficial. And it's very, very, very thorough. And if you have any questions, you can join the Discord with this, because like I said, the course has its own Discord, and they actually have a specific section for questions. You post, and then the Refold team will come in there and answer. Actually, just to give them a really positive, kind of stellar review here, and that is that I had an issue with the Anki card, because in the deck it gave me the 5,000, it's like 5,000 frequency deck for Greek. And I got it, and the audio wasn't working. So I posted a thing in there, and I was like, hey, my audio's not working. Something's a little weird. And Clayton responded and was like, hey, yeah, there's totally an issue. Give me a day. I'm going to repopulate the audio, and I'll resend you the deck. And absolutely did. Worked perfectly. Like, they redid all the audio, or, I think it was text-to-speech, but they got all that set up for me. Like, I could have done that, but like they took that out of my hands and said, no, we got it. I got this for you. You go study, you go do what you're doing. I'm going to make this deck good for you, and then I'll resend it. And it worked perfectly. So yeah, I have no complaints on that. And the team is very, very, very helpful all the time. So I definitely recommend, if you want to check this out, I do have links in the description. Like I said, there are affiliate links. You know, if you would like to support my channel, you can support my channel by buying from Refold, and then part of that goes to me. So I definitely like it. Definitely recommend. And if you have any questions, let me know down below, and I will try to answer the best that I can. If there's enough, I mean, I can do a follow-up video, but that is the course, man. You go through it one by one, slow build on each other. Hey, learn a little bit of the alphabet. Hey, why don't we spend 10 minutes to that language? Why don't you try listening to it? Can you hear things a little better? Why don't you try adding this? Why don't you try? And it's just this nice, slow process of building consistent behaviors in language learning. I was trying to think of anything negative just before we go, because I don't want to just be like, oh, this is totally all positive. Like, I feel like everything could use some sort of constructive feedback. But it is pretty well thought out. Customer service is great. I mean, the sheet is set up really good. I don't know. I don't want to sit here, because I don't like to edit anything either. I like to just really just have my thoughts flowing from my brain. So, yeah, I don't really have anything that would be overly negative, because I mean, even the video quality is great. Sometimes Ben will like slip up on a word or something, but I actually like that real life human element. Plus, if I'm not mistaken, I think this was a live course that they've just kind of taken each day and just made it into its own thing, so you can do it whenever. At least that's the feeling that I get. It feels like he's given a live presentation. So, yeah, I don't really have any complaints. I think it's a very, very solid system. So I'm gonna let that video end here. Like I said, here is my work for the month. 33 hours, 58 minutes, or in the 30 days that I did that. I'm very, very happy with it. I'm very happy to continue to build on my Greek and what I've done. I've read over 50,000 words in Greek in the 40-some days that I've done that. I've tried to hit an average of 1,000 words a day, and listening and being able to hear stuff, and it's really, really good. So thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know down below. And yeah, I will see you all in the next video.